And welcome to the news. It's an eventful Wednesday, and we have our lenses on every event with a telling impact on Nigerians and Nigerians. As the current administration under the helmsmanship of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu clocks a year in the saddle, we will also evaluate some key interventions and feedback for the citizens. Tonight,
is to take us back to our genealogy. Though we may have different tongues, in brotherhood we all stand.
Nigeria, we hail thee. The old anthem returns as the new. But what are the national questions this rendition intends to answer? Abuja Metro Line comes on stream. President Tinubu extends free train ride till end of the year. One city, one throne, two emirs. What is the update from Kano? Plus, flood alert in the FCT, the return of the rains and the pains of those on the path of the deluge. We also have our regular packages in health, infrastructure development, the environment, and sports. It's an eclectic package. But like I always say, don't take my word for it. After all, the proof of the pudding is in the eating. I'm Yenri John, and this is News Extra. Welcome. Let's hit the road now as President Bola Tinubu has inaugurated the long-awaited Abuja Rail Mass Transit to commence commercial operation. The just completed inherited project was inaugurated as part of activities marking the first anniversary of the present administration. State House correspondent Musbao Dan Wahab has details.
The dream started in 2007, and it was getting close to its realization with trial operation before the rage of COVID-19 in 2020. Abuja Rail Mass Transit System was also a casualty of the pandemic and subsequent vandalization. And then came the man with a renewed hope.
The landlord of Abuja, stake at it. I want to ride on your metro line. If I ask for free land, don't give me. But deliver the metro line for the good and the greatest number of Nigerians.
The humble request was taken as serious directive as the FCT minister embarked on the critical assignment. And in 9 months, Mr. Project has delivered the much anticipated project. The rail mass transit system, now fully rehabilitated, ready for full operations and with the capacity to convey about 9,800 passengers per day.
For me, today is the happiest day. We are talking about the New Hope agenda. What is the New Hope agenda? Giving back hope to the people. That's what it means. So it is a reality. What you are seeing today is a reality. People will not be happy that I can come to the city and go back. Those who want to watch football match will take the train down to the next train station, walk down to the Moshood Abiola Stadium, finish the match, go back to the train station, and go back to their houses. So when people talk about the New Hope, it's as if it's just method. It's a reality. I want to share with Abuja to showcase that the New Hope agenda is real, is working, and is practical.
Mr. Project, I say thank you very much.
Pleased and fulfilled, President Bola Tinubu commended the Nyesom Wike-led FCT administration, describing the achievement as a demonstration of serious commitment to value that all must embrace.
Today, what we have in the Federal Capital Territory is another piece of evidence that we are a government that delivers on promises. Abuja Light Rail Metro serves as a symbol of progress, connectivity, inclusivity. It signifies our determination to modernize our transportation infrastructure, reduce traffic congestions, and enhance accessibility to all residents, be visitors within and outside Abuja.
And for the residents within and around the city, here's another largesse from the government.
Our dear landlords and esteemed, I heard you saying 2 months free ride. I appeal to you to make it till the end of the year.
And it was time for the president to take his dreamed ride on the train. With his lieutenants, National Assembly leaders and cabinet members, he relished the moment of about 30-minute ride from the Central Business District and all the way to the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport.
We are now at Airport Station. Please get ready to alight on the right.
With Mr. Project in charge, backed by the renewed hope crusader, residents may just expect more infrastructure development in the capital territory. In Abuja, Musbah and Wahab, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the executive has enjoyed a good working relationship with the legislative arm of government under the current administration. But then, President Bola Tinubu is seeking to take the relationship higher for the continued benefits of Nigeria and its people. The president was at the joint session of the National Assembly commemorating the 25 years of unbroken democracy.
So please continue to collaborate, work together, build our country. We have no other choice. It is our nation. No one, no age, no other institution or personality will help us except we do it ourselves.
President Tinubu also inaugurated a newly constructed library and resource center in the National Assembly complex. Similarly, a joint sitting of the National Assembly hosted President Bola Tinubu for an extraordinary event. The visit is monumental in Nigeria's history as it ushers the revert to the nation's anthem at independence. National Assembly correspondent Lami Ali reports.
A brief visit of profound and lasting impression. It marks a new chapter in Nigeria's history as it features rendition of the anthem, Nigeria We Hail Thee, with Nigeria's first 4 citizens.
Out of honor and respect for the National Assembly, you said you must pass through the National Assembly on your first anniversary in office. Of all the significant things you have done, I think one of the most profound is to take us back to our genealogy. Though we may have different tongues, in brotherhood we all stand.
The presiding officers of Nigeria's bicameral legislature expressed pride on the achievements of President Bola Tinubu as he marks 1 year in office.
We in the National Assembly are very, very happy with your report card, with your performance so far. The National Assembly is thankful for the partnership that has existed within the last 1 year between you and us here. And to assure you as well that the National Assembly will always be supportive of your noble objectives.
The presiding officers restated commitments to collaborate with the executive for the progress of the country. Coming from the President of the Senate is the assurance that the 2024 supplementary budget to be forwarded as announced by the President will, as usual, receive expeditious passage. At the end of the ceremony, some lawmakers shared perspectives on the contextual connotation of the new anthem.
That prayer in paragraph 3 says, "O God of creation, grant us this one request." That prayer is in line with section 14 of Nigeria's present constitution, which provides for federal character, that anything you do in government, you must reflect the interests of all parts of the country.
This is what we are hoping. We hope it will ginger. We hope it will bring our conscience back to our nation. We are thinking that it will help in promoting the thinking toward the Republic.
From the National Assembly, Lami Ali, NTA News.
We're now being joined in the studio by Philip Agbese, member representing Ado Okpoku Ogbodigbo Federal Constituency of Benue State. He's the deputy spokesperson of the House of Representatives. Many thanks for joining us, Honorable.
Thank you so much.
Also with us here is a senior Whig, Chief Mike Ozekome, SEN. Of course, many thanks for joining us, Chief Ozekome.
Thank you very much and welcome, Nigerians.
All right, we're discussing the old national anthem, which is now new. I'd like to begin with you, Chief Ozekome. We understand that you spoke for a return to the old national anthem. Could you explain why you think this anthem better describes our journey and destination as a people?
Well, let me start by thanking the National Assembly and Mr. President for bringing to fruition what I have clamored for over the years. I would, with all humility, say I probably am a Nostradamus, the man who saw tomorrow. Because exactly 10 years ago, specifically on Wednesday, the 2nd of July, 2014, at the National Confab organized by former President Dr. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan, I moved a motion at the plenary session of that confab, headed by now late Justice Legbo Idris Kotugi, retired Justice of the Supreme Court, and with the deputy being Professor Bolaji Akiyemi, and the secretary was Dr. Janet Azinge, Senior Advocate of Nigeria. And I argued that we needed to come back to that old national anthem, which possessed the gravitas, the message, in context, in content, the lyrics that resonated with all Nigerians, that inspires, that fires the embers of our nationalism, that carries us along to a new position, what the late Dr. K.O. Mbadiwe we call national risorgimento. I argued that the then present national anthem, Arise, O Compatriots, was too bland, too colorless, the message not deep. That if you look at the 3 stanzas of the national anthem that has now been brought back, first prepared or written by Francis Berde, a Briton, and then the song composed by Lillian Williams. I said, if you look at the 3 stanzas, everything Nigeria ever needed to be is there.
All right, Chief Ozekome, I'll pause you.
What happened, therefore, today is what I proposed 10 years ago, which was carried by popular acclamation, overwhelmingly, unanimously, by the entire national plenary session of the National Conference. And we all got up simultaneously to sing the old national anthem, which is now the new national anthem.
All right.
And 2 days ago, I went to the National Assembly to defend my stance as to why we needed this old national anthem. And I'm happy, I'm proud, at least also of myself, like the lizard. I know I beat my chest to say what I did 10 years ago, what I saw, the government finally saw with me 10 years later.
All right, I'll pause you at this point, Honorable Zekome, but we have an honorable here, so I'd like to find out, Honorable Agbese, were all arguments for and against exhausted on this new introduction with your constituents before the final adoption?
Thank you very much. We have before now christened the 10th National Assembly as the People's Parliament. Again, constitutionally, we are the people's representatives. The vote that was casted for the 360 members of the House of Representatives and all the senators on February 25th, 2023 is for us to take decisive actions on their behalf. And as a matter of fact, we have all come to terms with the conclusion at this point in time that what we need as a people to move our great nation forward is the renewed spirit of patriotism. Patriotism that cuts across every segment of the nation, and patriotism that starts with the leaders of the country. And what we have done so far is an attestation to the fact that we have returned the instrument of lawmaking to the largest population of our people. You will agree with me that the current National Assembly has the highest number of political parties in the history of our country. And that defines the diversity of our actions and thought. And when we make conclusions on issues, it represents the yearnings and aspirations of the Nigerian people. And coming back to the old national anthem, which we have now adopted, for the good and the well-being of our country as a nation. Not just the instrument of patriotism, but some of the lines that we have to reflect on how we live as a people and the instrument of brotherhood.
Now, talking about these lines, the lines of this anthem, which is now the new national anthem, what do you think, this return can stimulate amongst the citizenry?
Yeah, one is the spirit of patriotism. Two, brotherhood. Even the Holy Bible preaches that we should see ourselves as brothers and treat one another as good neighbors. This new national anthem, which has become the new philosophy, the new driving force behind our nationhood as a people, would help to go a long way, to inspire the spirit of unity, the spirit of fairness, the spirit of peace and justice. And like that line that talks about, the flag, we should not hand over to the next generation a stained flag. You will agree with me that in the last 10 years, in the history of our country, we've had blood everywhere. And for us, we must understand, if you take it into the fight against insecurity, the new national anthem that we have adopted so far, confers on every citizen of this great country as a soldier, for peace and unity, as a soldier for justice. It therefore means that it is the duties that we own ourselves as a nation is no longer for the armed forces alone. It is no longer for our leaders. It has bettered a new regime where every citizen of this country is now seen to be equal, is now seen to have the duty and responsibility to make Nigeria a greater nation.
Thank you so much, Honorable Agbese. Because of time, let's quickly get to Chief Zekome. When you were talking about the national anthem, you talked about it being written by a non-Nigerian, and some will argue that the Arise, written by a Nigerian, of course, resonates more with Nigerians. But how confident are you that another government down the line will not put forward another compelling argument for another change, leading to, if you like, swinging of the pendulum between two renditions?
Well, situations do change. Nigeria is not the first country to change its national anthem. It happened in South Africa, Bulgaria, Russia, France, Zambia, Zimbabwe, and so many countries across the world. So it's not a new thing. It depends on the circumstances of a people. So if another government comes and decides to change it, a government is a process. It's a continuum. You cannot stop a government based on the will of the people. And if you look at Section 24 of the Constitution, you will see that every Nigerian is obligated to respect the Constitution, the national flag, and the national anthem. And this is where the lines come in, which I say they fire the embers of our national resurgence. Look at it, for example, Nigeria, we hate thee, our own dear native land, our own. Though tribe and tongue may differ, in brotherhood we stand. That was why in 1943, in a discussion between Ahmadu Bello and the Sadana of Sokoto and Nnamdi Azikiwe, Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe said, let us forget our differences. That was what he told Ahmadu Bello. Ahmadu Bello said, no, we cannot forget our differences. We must recognize our differences so that we can use the plurality to work towards an end. You are an Igbo, an Easterner, and a Christian. I am Fulani, a Northerner, and a Muslim. So we are already different. The important thing is for us to recognize our differences and then use that Dolly Parton's coat of many colors for us to move forward.
As a nation.
Yes.
Many thanks, Chief Ozekome. I think we'll have to leave the conversation at this point. Of course, I'll definitely come to you for lessons as regards to the recitation of this new anthem. Thank you so much for being our guest on News Extra tonight. Chief Mike Ozekome, SAN. And, of course, Honorable Philip Agbese. Thank you so much for your insight.
Thank you so much.
All right,
Thank you very much.
Thank you. News Extra continues, and prior to the joint session of the National Assembly, the House of Representatives observed a special May 29 plenary where lawmakers described 25 years of unbroken democratic rule as a remarkable landmark for Nigeria. National Assembly correspondent Mitari Ikben reports that members of the House took turns to lend their voices on the gains, challenges, and expectations from Nigeria's democratic journey.
Deputy Speaker Benjamin Kalu yields the floor to members for their thoughts on 25 years of sustained democracy, and for lawmakers the experience has been a mixed bag.
It's not what we expect to be. Get a taste of authoritarianism, dictatorship, and fascism, and you will know that what we have is setting a road path to a better society.
We have had prophecies that the country was likely not to survive some of our elections. But here we are. Here we are as servants in the temple of democracy.
We allow debates openly and give and take. That is democracy. In those days, under the military rule, you dare not stand up to talk.
They advocate more commitment to the welfare and well-being of citizens.
We should be looking at celebrating access to health care. A lot of insecurity issues ranging from kidnapping, from bandits, herders.
And if we are saying that we are practicing democracy, then there should be freedom and the same law, constitution that govern one part of Nigeria should also govern the other part of Nigeria.
Local government independence in Nigeria is one issue that must not be negotiated.
A motion of urgent public importance over renewed banditry in Katsina State led the House to a resolution calling for additional security measures to protect lives and property across the country.
On Sunday, 26 May 2024, gunmen attacked Umbola Mido, Gugawat, Bakodo local government at 6:30 p.m.
The House resolved to investigate the retrenchment of 600 staff of the CBN, as well as boundary dispute among communities in Osun and Oyo states.
In all, lawmakers agreed that Nigeria's democracy is work in progress and that 25 years of uninterrupted democratic rule should instill a sense of pride in citizens and a greater commitment to nation building. From the National Assembly, Mitari Ikben, NTA News.
Now time for a break. Please remain tuned. Welcome back. It's been been an eventful year in the power sector under the Tinubu presidency, with bold decisions, executive commitments and interventions to build what industry players describe as a resilient power sector. Joshua Ojito reports on how these reforms will improve power supply nationwide.
It's 1 year of the Tinubu administration, and government says effort to improving power supply in the country is work in progress. From legislation to executive commitment that birthed New Electricity Act 2023 and steps taken so far to increase generation, strengthen capacity of the grid, as well as distribution, industry players describe events of last 1 year in the sector as right steps towards building resilient power sector.
A lot of investments are already coming into the power sector because of the activities and liberalization they have witnessed in this sector. And I believe that whatever has eluded us in the past in this sector, this administration is committed to break the jinx and make the power sector effective again.
We impacted about 7.8 million lives in the country. We have connected 1.8 million houses. We have developed 150 mini grids and also deployed over 1.5 million solar home systems across the country. One of the key things that this present administration has succeeded in achieving is the signing of the biggest public sector funded off-grid project in the entire world, a $750 million project that we popularly call DARES, Distributed Access Through Renewable Energy Scale-Up.
So these are things that are brought on board by Mr. President to ensure that all the challenges in the power sector are effectively resolved, and then we will now have adequate power supply, we will have reliable and sustainable electricity supply and safe electricity supply in the country.
Also, in the last 1 year, electricity tariff was increased, but only for customers on Band A from 68 Naira kilowatt per hour to 206 Naira 80 kobo, with assurance of 20 hours daily supply, while tariff for customers in other bands remained frozen as they continue to enjoy federal government subsidy in the sector. However, continuous vandalization of transmission towers and other power infrastructure, especially in the northeast and north-central parts of the country, with great disturbances, are some of the challenges the industry is contending with.
TCN is collaborating with all these security agencies to make sure that our lines are well protected. I'm assured Nigerians that the government is doing all what is possible to make sure that this power problem is solved in Nigeria. It's just for them to be patient, but we will reach there.
With hopes and expectations from electricity customers for improved supply, it is expected that the ongoing interventions by the present administration will increase longer hours of supply nationwide. Joshua Ojito, NTA News.
And from power, let's take a look at agriculture. For the past 365 days, the federal government has been implementing policies and programs aimed at upscaling the country's national food production towards eradicating hunger and malnutrition, as well as making the country food secured. Investigation reveals that the government food security drive has been impacting positively on the social and economic well-being of the country, as well as that of the smallholder farmers. Let's join Musa Babaliyu for details.
President Bola Tinubu took the mantle of leadership of Nigeria at the time there was a global food crisis. Nigeria was not exempted from the food crisis occasioned by drop in yields as a result of climate change, communal clashes, and scarcity and high cost of inputs.
We were unfortunate, we also suffered COVID and floodings in succession from 2022-2023.
The administration identified these challenges and declared a state of emergency on food security.
So this administration of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu deserves commendation because it recognized that there was a problem, and it immediately declared an emergency on food security.
The government introduced special intervention in crop production in 2023. Farmers were given fertilizer and chemicals at 80% discount to produce rice, maize, and sorghum. 61,000 farmers benefited from the initiative.
The current policy of the government now of Bola Ahmed Tinubu is support to farmers so that there is going to increase production of food.
During the dry season, government procured improved wheat seeds and distributed it to farmers in 15 states. The initiative has created wealth among farmers and injected 309 billion naira to the economy.
They give me seed. The second one, they give me fertilizer and the chemical. That means herbicidized.
Agriculture has become a way of life, has become a way of livelihood for earning, for survival, and we have to develop that culture of good agronomy practices so that we can increase the yield.
A major reform was introduced in the seeds value chain, which has given Nigeria international recognition. More than 300 new varieties of seeds were released during the year under review.
And for the first time, the National Seed Council, the Agricultural Research Council, and the Research Institute were challenging them because the national seed system of every country has a structure and a framework. So right now, for the first time after so many years of abandonment, we are reviving the national seed framework.
The Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security has also distributed 45,000 metric tons of assorted food as directed by the President. The food items were handed over to states for distribution to vulnerable Nigerians for free. Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
Transportation is next, as the federal government says it will partner with states and the private sector to develop the rail and roads network as a way of boosting the nation's economy. This is while the Minister of Transport, Saidu Ahmed Al-Khali, inaugurates a multi-billion naira mega motor park in Gombe. Tafawa Hamza Mayo reports.
Governor Inuwa Yahaya in 2020 reviewed the mega park project to accommodate more services for the economic interests of the state. He surprised many by putting aside political differences to name the multi-billion naira edifice after Senator Ibrahim Hassan Dankombo, who mooted the idea of the project in 2016 as governor of the state then. With facilities like trailer park, mechanic village, a hotel, police station, center of worship, and other needs of travelers, the Ibrahim Hassan Dankombo Park is adjudged one of the best in the country. Minister of Transport, Saidu Ahmed Al-Khali, says the federal government remains committed to enhancing the nation's transport system.
In furtherance to this initiative, I have elected the Director General of the National Institute of Transport Technology (NIT) to liaise with the state government to establish CNG conversion center in Gombe.
Added to this, I also told the President that we are going to relocate the grains market, that is the Tudun Hazi, the abattoir, that is the Kwata, and the Kasuan Shanu, which is the lifestyle market. Our plan is to make them of international standard.
The Emir of Gombe, Abubakar Shehu Abubakar, the Chairman Senate Committee on Transport, Senator Adamu Aliru, and representative of Senator Dankombo, commended the foresight of Governor Inuwa Yahaya in completing the project, saying continuity adds value to democratic system of governance. In Gombe, Tafawa Hamza Mayu, NTA News.
Let's head to the courtroom now, as the Federal High Court Abuja Division has discharged the president of Miyetti Allah Kauta Kore Bello Bodejo of alleged terrorism counts filed against him by the Office of the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice. In a ruling, Justice Inyang Eko discharged Bodejo after counsel for the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Aderunke Imana, moved an oral application for the withdrawal of the 3-count charge. The withdrawal of the charge is in line with the power of the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice under Section 174 of the 1999 Constitution. Counsel to the defendant, Ahmed Raji, SAN, did not oppose the application. In other news, the Minister of State for Labour and Employment, Nkiruka Onyejocha, has appealed to organized labour to be considerate and patriotic in their demand in the ongoing negotiation for a new national minimum wage. In a statement, the minister stated that government has been consistent in taking steps to secure a fair and realistic wage for Nigerian workers and urged organized labour to recognize that the nation's economy is still on the path of recovery from the effects of the pandemic and other economic distress. She noted that in light of the current economic conditions, government has made a concessionary move from 57,000 naira to 60,000 naira, explaining that this increase is a demonstration of government's willingness to listen to the concerns of labor and work towards a mutually beneficial agreement. Let's head to Kano now. The Nigeria Police in Kano says it is committed to enforcing the state government order that bans all forms of protests and demonstrations that might disrupt the much enjoyed peace in the state. The police commissioner in the state, Muhammad Hussaini Gumel, said the command is ready to deal with anyone that threatens the peace and security of the people in the state. Aminu Umar feeds us.
It is one case, however, many institutions are involved. The legislature, executive and the judiciary. It started in quick succession from Kano State House of Assembly and accented by Kano State Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf, and later turned to a legal dispute with single stool having two occupiers claiming it. At the Nasarawa Palace is Emir Aminu Ado Bayero. Here is Nasarawa Palace, where Emir Aminu Ado Bayero is sitting in his palace. And although the Emir did not hold the usual court sitting, but people are coming, that is lovers and well-wishers are coming to see the Emir in his palace. Also at the Kofar Kudu of the Emir's palace in Kano, Emir Muhammad Sunusi is in the palace and he has been receiving his guests that are coming to wish him well. While in the commercial areas, still the main concern is how to earn a living. To maintain peace and order, Kano State government has banned all forms of protest, a development that the police command in Kano says it will enforce.
Anybody who disobeys the law will be arrested, investigated, with their sponsors being identified fully, and they will all be prosecuted.
Sequel to the conflicting court orders on the emirship tussle, the Chief Justice of the Federation, Justice Olukayode Ariola, has summoned the concerned judges. In Kano, Aminu Umar, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the Nigerian Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs has urged the Islamic scholars who are custodians of Islamic learning, values and guidance to refrain from making statements that can further exacerbate tension and polarize the Ummah regarding the current traditional leadership crisis in the state. A statement by Professor Salisu Shehu on behalf of the Secretary General says at this trying period for Ummah, ulama within and outside the state should prayerfully allow the current traditional leadership conflict in Kano be handled and resolved by the political, judicial and customary authorities. Meanwhile, the Council has urged the relevant authorities to resolve the current issue with the fear of Allah, fairness and justice. The Council also wants the people of Kano to sincerely call on Allah, remain calm and avoid taking laws into their hands. Away from the emirship tussle now, a takeoff of 50 youths are currently undergoing a 3-day training on auto gas conversion of vehicles and generators in Abuja. The training, organized by the Federal Institute of Industrial Research, Oshodi, is in pursuant to the federal government's effort to create a better transport system and a cleaner environment for Nigerians. Charles Alpha has all the details.
Research and development has been the hallmark of the Federal Institute of Industrial Research, FIRO, since its inception, profiling solutions to pending and anticipating innovative and technological challenges of the 21st century. This is why the initiative did not come as a surprise, providing empowerment of the nation's strong-based youth in the new technology of converting petrol vehicles and generators to operate on compressed natural gas. 50 youths expected to train others will undergo rigorous training on introduction to gas value chains and the ability to identify CNG vehicles.
It is not everybody that will have money to go and learn how to convert the petrol vehicle to CNG. FIRO has the capacity to train 20,000 youth. So we've started with Abuja here.
If anybody has been trained, you are empowered, and that will provide a source of livelihood.
What this training is, to me, is an eye-opener.
For the Minister of Innovation, Science and Technology, Uche Naji, building the capacity of the youth along the CNG line will address technological needs that will address environmental challenges in line with the Renewed Hope initiative of Mr. President.
You can see this is the palliative, the kind of palliative we are looking at, cushioning the cost of transportation. So if this is fully implemented, then everybody will start smiling.
Any alternative that will come to ensure that a layman or someone that is very low in income will benefit from this is a welcome development.
At Judge, as the most innovative research institute in Nigeria for 2 successful years, FIRO is committed to utilizing indigenous technologies and raw materials in the development of over 250 technologies that are market-driven. Charles Alpha.
In the same vein, Nigeria's quest to deliver cheaper, safer and more climate-friendly energy is now a reality as the National Agency for Science and Engineering Infrastructure, NASENI's Compressed Natural Gas Reverse Engineering and Conversion Center, is ready for inauguration by President Bola Tinubu this Friday, 31st May 2024. Chimdima Ndubisi will tell us more about this facility that showcases NASENI's commitment to supporting federal government's renewed hope agenda on sustainable energy alternatives.
Petrol or diesel-powered vehicles are said to contribute to greenhouse gas emission, which affects the climate, not to mention the high cost of these commodities, which has led to arbitrary increment in the cost of transportation after subsidy removal. But there's a cleaner and cheaper alternative: compressed natural gas-powered vehicles that reduce tailpipe emissions by 40%. The National Agency for Science and Engineering Infrastructure, NASENI, in partnership with Portland Gas, established an all-in-one CNG reverse engineering and training center in the heart of the nation's capital, Utako District, Abuja. Here, vehicles that use fossil fuel can be converted to CNG, and there's capacity to convert 3,000 vehicles monthly. Also, the center, which is open to collaborations with private businesses, boasts of natural gas pump filling stations, trained professionals that will see to safe conversions, and training of interested technicians and citizens. This is to build local capacity in CNG technology and easy adoption of green energy solutions across the nation.
NASENI being a driver in terms of pushing boundaries for our infrastructure, especially in the areas of science and engineering, we wouldn't be left behind to help Mr. President achieve this mandate of having as much as possible CNG penetration in the country. CNG is less than 1/3 the cost of petrol in terms of the same distance that it will drive you.
What this option means to Nigerians, especially the likes of Clement, an auto mechanic, is that more jobs will be created in the conversion chain in ensuring an eco-friendly environment. Cost of transportation and other commodities will equally go down in the long run. In Abuja, Chimdima Ndubisi, NTA News.
All right, more commercials need to breathe. Stay with us. Thank you for staying. It's a new dawn for the people of Plateau State in the pursuit for academic excellence following the completion and inauguration of a community studies center of the National Open University of Nigeria in Wase. Former governor and senator representing Plateau Southern Senatorial District, Simon Bako Lalong, says the center is a boost to the educational development of not only the area, but the state and indeed the nation as a whole. Caleb Gochin has the details.
This is one out of many federal projects in the area made possible by the former Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, Ahmed Idris Wase. And from all indications, the people are happy.
We have never thought of having such a project.
I'm calling my younger ones and the elders to join this program.
Nobody in life without education will become something.
Senator Lalong underscored the place of education in the development of any society, noting that Plateau people should embrace the initiative and protect the project for posterity.
I think education should be the first thing, and it was also one of the policy thrusts of this administration in Nigeria.
Initiator of the center, Ahmed Idris Wase, says he is committed to the educational and vocational development of his people.
I want to appreciate His Excellency, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, for giving us the enabling environment to operate, not only serving people of Plateau State, but it should also serve the people of Gombe, Taraba, and part of Bauchi State.
The center boasts of a well-equipped technology-enabled classroom to facilitate interactive learning and skill development.
Dr. Rabiat Lawal is to oversee activities of the center on acting capacity. In Jos, Caleb Gochin, NTA.
Corps Marshal, Federal Road Safety Corps, Shehu Mohammed, has read out his 4 policy thrusts to reposition the Corps with effective road management and service delivery as priorities. This came up during his maiden address to officers of the Corps headquarters. Oyeyemi Ajayi has details.
Now, as a full-fledged Corps Marshal, Shehu Mohammed is hitting the ground running. He is quite unequivocal about the 4 policy thrusts to reposition the Corps. Repositioning operations through digital transformation, training, strategic partnership, gainful engagement of stakeholders, discipline and welfare are the 4 focal points he believes will drive the Corps towards achieving a better road safety in the country.
We equally intend to deploy modern technology to the National Uniform License Scheme to facilitate ease of doing business, a comprehensive review of response strategy in line with contemporary best practice to improve FRC capacity to respond to road crises promptly by equipping emergency response teams with better tools and adequate training.
Not minding the day being his birthday, the work must indeed continue, especially with the officers and men of the Corps waiting for the final order. Oyeyemi Ajayi, NTA News.
And still on road safety, Corps Marshal Federal Road Safety Corps, Shehu Mohammed, has approved the redeployment of 5 senior officers in the category of 3 assistant Corps Marshals, 1 Corps Commander and 1 Deputy Corps Commander. The affected officers include Assistant Corps Marshal Jonas Agu, the erstwhile Public Education Officer, who is now redeployed to head the Administration and Human Resources Department at the national headquarters, while Assistant Corps Marshal Chidi Kwanta takes over duty as the Principal Staff Officer to the Corps Marshal, while Assistant Corps Marshal Hafiz Mohammed now being redeployed as Zonal Commanding Officer, Zone 7. The Corps Marshal also approved the redeployment of Corps Commander Olusegun Ogungbemide as the new Public Education Officer of the Corps. The redeployment is in line with the Corps Marshal's policy thrust targeted at strategic repositioning of the Corps for optimal performance and ease of doing business. Let's talk education now, as the Ministry of Education was host to the leadership of the National Association of Nigerian Students, NANS. Professor Tahir Maman and Mr. Yusuf Sununu were both at the session focusing on critical issues affecting Nigerian students, which include the Student Loan Board and the involvement of students in educational governance. The Minister of Education expressed his appreciation for the maturity and high standards demonstrated by NANS in addressing student matters.
About how to manage because if you're talking about tertiary institutions, there are 3 agencies where if you have students, reps in them, you will cover all the universities. If you have a rep in NUC, for instance, NUC charge of all universities. The same to NTA, they are all in charge of polytechnics. NCC, they are all in charge of polytechnics. Because it's not possible for you to all to be in all the areas.
President of NANS, Laki Emonefe, expressed gratitude to the ministers for their support and highlighted several pressing issues. These include concerns about the slow disbursement of loans from the Student Loan Board, calling for a streamlined process to ensure timely financial support for students. All right. He also advocated for regular security audits, among others. That's on the NANS visit to the Ministers of Education. Now, looking at what's happening in Enugu State, the government has expressed displeasure over an alleged attempt to scuttle the senior secondary school certificate examination in the state. A statement by the Commissioner for Information and Communication, Aka noted that the consequences of candidates in the state and the entire southeast region not sitting for their general mathematics paper will hold nothing but gloom for the future. Hence, calling on those involved in the conduct of the examination and other enterprises to go about their legitimate businesses, as the government has taken steps to ensure adequate security of lives and property. The Enugu State Head of Service, Ken Ugo, had earlier issued a circular warning civil servants and political appointees that there will be no public holiday on May 30, 2024, and failure to report to work will attract severe sanctions. The statement describes as unacceptable and illegal the sit-at-home orders issued by IPOB, which have dealt a great blow on the socio-economic life of the zone. Away from Enugu State now, the need for the independence of the Central Bank of Nigeria to help check inflation has been proposed by the Conference of Civil Societies following the proposed amendment to the CBN Act by the National Assembly. Chairman, Conference of Civil Societies, Adams Otaku, in a meeting with newsmen, noted that recently the CBN increased its monetary policy rate to 26.25% to check inflation, which now stands at 33.69%. He said the amendment will weaken the bank and threaten its autonomy.
The world have shown a direct correlation between independent central banks and adequate checks on inflation. We therefore urge the National Assembly to resist the temptation of deliberately weakening the Central Bank of Nigeria, attempting to take away the bank's autonomy.
Simco urged the federal government to do more in fixing the economy, as the present act contains enough checks that the National Assembly can trigger. Dut says our next stop is 7,252 youths in Jigawa State have been presented with permanent and pensionable appointment letters in the education, health and agric ministries and agencies of the state government. The initiative, the first of its kind, is coming as part of activities to mark 1 year in office of Governor Umar Namadi. Muhammad Musa Askira brings us all the details.
This comprises 5,225 teachers for basic and higher education, including 143 first-class graduates from different backgrounds, permanent employment to 827 junior staff and 178 senior staff of Jigawa Health, temporary appointments to 1,440 Jigawa agro employees, among others. 50,000 naira small medium enterprises grants were also presented to 400 women from Dutse Emirate, bringing the total of youth from both genders empowered to 70,400 in the past 12 months of Umar Namadi administration in Jigawa State.
This is a commitment we have done to the people of Jigawa State, and we will continue to pursue programs and policies that will lead us to the fulfillment of all these promises we have done to our people. In addition to that, all what we are doing today is in consonant with the Renew Hope agenda of our President Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
We are grateful to our governor. This will encourage us, people with special needs, to pursue education, use it to help ourselves and our families, and be useful members of society.
Speakers at the event were overwhelmed by the development strides in all sectors of the economy, changing the hitherto poor social indicators in the state for the better. The achievements recorded so far, experts say, are indicative of the fact that Jigawa is placed on the path to sustainable socio-economic development with a reduced poverty rate, hunger and ignorance among citizens in the state. From Dutse, Muhammad Musa Askira, NTA News.
Another break is due, but more news to come. Remain tuned. Thank you for remaining tuned. The residents of Afin Akoko in Akoko, northwest of Ondo State, have appealed to the local and state governments as well as well-meaning Nigerians to assist their community in tackling the menace of the strange insects afflicting their community. Biodun Boladipo reports that the insects have negatively affected the livelihood of the residents of the community.
Afin Akoko, a community in the northwest local government area of Ondo State, has been infested with strange insects in recent times. The people of the community confirmed that the insects have invaded their surrounding and eradicating them is proving to be impossible. The Afin residents who spoke with NTA News noted that they spend a significant amount of time on regular basis trying to kill the insects, but they keep multiplying, and they contaminated whatever food and water they come in contact with.
I never see where I go past enter my house.
If you enter the room, so if you hear the odor is affecting some people.
They urged government to come to their aid as the infestations has made regular life unsustainable in the community.
Once customer come, when they see it, they will go away so that they cannot stay with this type of place.
Commissioner for Health, Dr. Banji Ajaka, noted that the Department of Public Health monitoring the situations and doing its best to contain it.
They are still watching whether we'll have people with strange illness.
NTA News gathered that the senator representing Ondo North in the National Assembly, Jide Ikpenshagba, sent a team to fumigate the community from Afin Akoko in the Northern Senatorial District of Ondo State. Abiodun Oladeko, NTA News.
Still on pest, but this time in Bauchi State, almost 60 days after the aerial spray of pesticides against the attack of the dreaded quilla birds on Nigerian crops by the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Food Security. Abdullahi Aminu takes a look at the targets of the exercise, which is part of the federal government's effort to ensuring food security in the country.
This is the aerial spray of the pesticides against the quail birds' attack on Nigerian crops. Bauchi and Gombe are the states in which the exercise was conducted in April 2024.
Some of them died off and a lot of them started flying and running away. And so for now, we are free of that effect of birds.
There will be reduction in the destructive effects of those quilla birds on the rice crops that was farmed during the last dry season farming.
It has cut across all the flash areas that the most hated birds are annually residing in an extreme number.
The target have been met because those birds were met at their roosting sites and they were sprayed.
Right now we have put measures such as providing inputs farming inputs, fertilizer, chemicals, even seedlings are being provided for the farmers.
The effort is targeted at increasing food security and helping farmers to grow more food in line with the renewed hope agenda of the federal government. In Bauchi, Abdullahi Aminu, NTA News.
Persistent flooding in Nigeria and its trend since 2012 means that man must find a way to deal with this natural disaster, of which man-made activities have intensified, or at least save himself from its impact. As the rains set in, the very familiar occurrences are expected, and so caution and adequate preparation must, as a matter of urgency, be made to keep man and his environment from unwanted loss brought about by this phenomenon that has continued to displace both the dead and the living. Charles Alpha will tell us more.
The ramifications of floods extend beyond loss of lives and property, encompassing disruptions to agriculture, industrial productivity, infrastructure, and overall social-economic stability, health, academic activities, and washing away of graves.
Water packed my house. This is my house here, and I have nowhere to stay now.
Effective flood forecasting and early warning system are imperative in mitigating these adverse impacts. This is what the Nigerian Meteorological Agency has done for years, warning people to avoid floodplains, relocate to higher grounds, and keep the water channels free. But those who have been constantly flooded, those that have lost valuables over the years, remain adamant. And the question will be, why?
We'll give you very cogent reason why they are still hanging around there, because they do not have an alternative.
Migrating and leaving that area might give them a difficulty in their agricultural activities.
The 2024 annual flood outlook unveiled by the Nigeria Hydrological Services Agency identifies 148 local government areas in the high flood risk areas across 31 states and 249 local government areas in moderate risk zones.
The Federal Capital Territory has had its own fair share of the devastation caused by flooding. From Galadimawa to Gwagwalada to Trademore and Sunnyvale, the story has been the same.
Enforcing land use planning as it is in the master plan. If that is not done, I can assure you, Trademore is still having that challenge.
The devastation caused by flood knows no bound. Whether dead or alive, anything can be flooded. Why not act now? Save yourself, save your family as the rains set in. Charles Alpha, NTA News.
Many thanks, Charles, for the reminder. As I say, a stitch in time saves 9. Now, the Nigerian Medical Mission for the 2024 Hajj in Saudi Arabia is intensifying sensitization of pilgrims on preventive measures against heat stroke. At an interactive session with journalists in Makkah, the National Medical Team leader, Dr. Abubakar Ismail, says the move is necessary considering the prevailing heat waves in the kingdom. Correspondent Jamilu Ibrahim reports.
One, they need to avoid the harsh sun as much as possible, either by way of avoiding the sun completely. If it is necessary for them to go out, then they need to take the necessary measures, either by use of umbrella or taking maybe a stand under a shade, avoiding standing under sun. And then the second thing, don't leave house without a bottle of water.
Let's take another break. Stay with us. Let's look away from our shores now. South Africans are out this Wednesday to cast their ballots in what has been described as a high contested general election in decades. Musa Babali reports that more than 27 million people are expected to participate in the voting process.
Polling stations were opened as early as 7 a.m. South African time, with eligible voters exercising their civic duty. 27 million people have been registered and expected to participate in the exercise. 70 parties and 11 independent candidates are contesting. The outcome of the election will produce 700 members that will elect the new president for the country in coming weeks. The ruling party, the ANC, is having a tough time to continue to be in power, considering the massive campaign by the opposition parties.
This is the day when South Africa decides on the future of our country, who should lead the government of South Africa. And I have no doubt whatsoever in my heart of hearts that the people will once again invest confidence in the African National Congress to continue to lead this country.
Voting has been smooth across the country, but some people have been turned away due to a rule change which requires them to vote where they registered.
And so it's very exciting for me also because of all the different parties, or in addition to that, the independents. It gives our democracy, I would think, a little bit of space.
It's very important for people to participate in the politics of your country and the future of the country.
Analysts are of the view that ANC will not be able to have majority and will be forced to negotiate a coalition to remain in government. Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
Let's take a look at sports quickly now as El Kanemi Warriors stunned Shooting Stars in the round of 16 of the 2024 President Federation Cup ties. Details of this and more with Austin Edemudu.
The round of 16 matches of the President Federation Cup played on Thursday were full of surprises as Sokoto United stunned Nigerian Premier League side Enyimba of Aba in another surprise package. Lower division side KB United bundled Akwa United out of the competition also by a lone goal. In the Lagos derby, 10-man Intercity Lagos defeated rivals Ikorodu United 5-4 on penalties to progress to the quarterfinals.
Elsewhere in Abuja, Junior Secondary School, Jabi 2, have retained the Yilas Case Championship League after defeating their closest rivals, JSS 2 Jabi 1, in this year's final of 5-a-side competition in Abuja.
That is the only way you can bring children together to work for a common goal.
We play with all our energy and we got a good result.
The championship, which had 8 teams in attendance, was aimed at combining learning with skills for students in the FCT. In boxing, the much anticipated rematch between the undisputed heavyweight champion Alexander Usyk and Tyson Fury is scheduled to take place on 21st of December 2024 in Saudi Arabia. Usyk emerged victorious via split decision when the rivals met earlier this month to become the first undisputed heavyweight champion since Lennox Lewis in 1999. Now to tennis, Stefanos Tsitsipas sealed a place in the third round of the French Open after seeing off Daniel Altmaier 6-3, 6-2, 7-6, 6-4. With sports update, I'm Austin Edemodu, NTA News.
The families of Oshinowo and Yunusa of Ikperu Remo land of Ogun State have urged families, friends, well-wishers and associates to join them in the burial of their matriarch, late Victoria Folashade Oshinowo, née Mebude, who passed on at the age of 90. Funeral arrangements released indicate that there will be a Christian wake at Wesley Methodist Cathedral, Ikperu Remo, Ogun State on Thursday, 30th May 2024 by 4 p.m. Funeral service will be at the same venue by 10 o'clock in the morning. Reception follows immediately after the church service at Wesley Methodist Cathedral, Ikperu Remo, Ogun State. Late Mama Oshinowo was the mother of engineer Segun Oshinowo of the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA. Let's take a quick peep at the weather outlook for Thursday.
Hello and welcome to the weather forecast. Late night thunderstorms are expected to linger into the early hours of Thursday morning to affect parts of Kebbi, Zamfara, Bauchi, Kaduna, Gombe, Taraba, Nasarawa Plateau, the Federal Capital Territory, Niger and Kwara states, leaving other parts of the country in mostly cloudy skies. As we go into the afternoon and evening hours, there are better prospects of thunderstorms to most parts of the northern and the north-central region of the country, while isolated thunderstorms are expected to the southern region of Edo, Delta, Bayelsa, Cross River, Akwa Ibom, Imo, Enugu, and Abia states. Stand by for the air quality index, marine forecast, and temperature forecast. I am Theodora Itzum. Thank you for watching.
Many thanks, Theodora, for the heads up as regards the weather outlook for tomorrow. Of course, that wraps up News Extra tonight. Many thanks for watching. Do have a good night.